Hello everybody, welcome back once again to the Triangle Strategy walkthrough. So last video there, and I should say we're still playing, New Game Plus. And last video there we took down Rufus in the little arena thing and stole his accuracy amulet because you know what? Dead guys don't need accuracy amulets. Pretty sure he's not dead, but alright, let's continue on.
Serenoa delivers the salt to Svarog, a powerful minister of Esfrost, and entreats him for aid. Svarog refuses, but spares their lives in exchange for the salt. They despair, unsure of what may come of their failed transaction, until Clarus of the Norzelia Consortium offers them hope. For a valiant display in his underground arena, they receive more than needed for the salt. Gustadolf's power grows greater by the day, but House Wolffort is not idle in the meantime. They look to strengthen their own forces, slowly but surely. After seeing the illicit salt to Esfrost, Serenoa makes haste to Hyzand. The Holy One has invited both them and Sorsley End to the palace.
Lord Serenoa Wolffort, we are pleased to have you in the capital.
Well met. Are you attendant to the Holy One?
I do have that honor, yes. I am afraid preparations for your audience are still underway. Pray wait a while longer.
Very well. There is no rush.
Your patience is appreciated. We shall find you once we are ready.
We should take this chance to see the city. We still do not know why we were summoned. Rumors, fickle as they may be, may help us steel ourselves for what is ahead.
Somehow, I doubt that the commoners are privy to the thoughts of the goddess.
Still, it would do us well to acquaint ourselves with her subjects. For the sake of our budding relationship with Hyzand, if nothing else.
I agree. Then shall we split up to cover the most ground?
I have a mind to visit the source.
As you wish. Once we have finished, let us return here to share what we have learned.
This country is quite pleasant, isn't it? Not a dour face in sight. Quite the opposite, in fact. To see their smiles, you would think that inequity, envy, and jealousy were things of fairy tales.
A well-governed populace is a happy populace. Or so they say.
Just an example we could learn from, methinks.
If I may speak plainly, I find it somewhat unsettling.
Unsettling? How so?
Smiles do not always show joy. Is it truly possible to sate the wishes of every woman and man?
Are you implying something nefarious is behind all this?
Not necessarily. However, I was taught that for every laugh, somewhere a tear is shed. This country was not built without its share of sacrifice. Of that, I am certain.
I understand your hesitation, Anna, but I think it is unfounded. A country who cares for its citizens is cared for in turn. It needn't be any more complex than that.
So, did you discover aught of value?
We did. The rumor on everyone's lips is that Minister Sorsley has brought House Wolffort to heel.
news travels faster than I would expect. That may very well be the reason for our audience.
If so, then the time may soon be upon us to decide if we are loyal to Hyzant or otherwise.
I will wander the city a little longer. I shall return soon.
It's as we feared, milady. None but Hyzantians can enter the source.
I see. I would have liked to see where my mother was raised, and where she spent her final days.
Her final days? She died here?
Many years ago. I know little else of the circumstances of her passing.
I thought she escaped this thrice-forsaken place.
She did. She fled during the chaos of a Rosellan uprising in the midst of the Salt Iron War. It was then that she met my father, the former Archduke. And from their union, I was born, a daughter of Esfrost.
Then how'd she... No. Was she captured?
In a way, yes. Esfrost was forced to surrender her, or take responsibility for the war's outbreak. And then, well...
What a damned farce.
I was lonely and heartbroken, but the pendant she left me shone the way through my darkest days.
Can't tell you how sorry I am.
And dark days there were. Esfrost was her home, but there were those who would not let her forget her ancestry. That she was able to ignore her detractors speaks to the strength of her character. That she excelled in her studies does even more so.
You flatter me, Jila.
I would never presume to do such a thing.
My lord, I kept your better half safe for you.
Thank you, Eridor. Did you learn aught of interest?
We did. It seems all members of the Saintly Seven have gathered at the palace.
All of them? Could that have something to do with us?
Perhaps, though it certainly bodes ill. In any case, it is clear that we are expected to honor the Hierophant's request for an audience.
Demand may be a better word to use.
Then perhaps we should return before the attendant comes to seek us out.
Okay, let's take a look at the side story here at the Citadel of the Sand. So it says, Tenebris and Sorcelay speak of the latter's sudden summons from the Hierophant.
House Wolford has not a single heroic deed to their name, yet the Hierophant grants them audience? As if they are worthy to stand by my side before the Holy One. What is the meaning of this?
Perhaps there is no need to take offense. Perhaps you are being honored. You did bring a formidable ally into the flock, after all.
That is a curious interpretation.
The others in the Order are breathless with jealousy at your achievement. They have spoke of naught else since the news arrived.
'Twas no great feat. The Wolfords were lost, sniveling, begging for a hand to guide them. The others needn't know that, however.
Soon you will have the ear of the goddess. You will be the envy of Hyzant.
It is well past time for that decrepit Edor to relinquish his position.
The future belongs to House End.
At last. I shall see that you have a place in it, Tenebris.
What a gullible fool.
All right. The air within the Hierophant's palace is tense as Serenoa is brought before the saintly seven.
I, Sorsley End, have brought Serenoa Wolfort to answer the summons of the Holy One.
Very good. Then let us begin forthwith. In the name of the Holy One and the Goddess, I shall begin her inquiry into the misappropriation of our nation's salt.
Huh? An inquiry?
Serenoa Wolfort shall be questioned first. Sorsley End stands accused of forsaking the goddess's blessing, of abusing his station to indulge his own insatiable appetites. You, Serenoa Wolfort, stand accused of aiding his plot, of sullying your own hands by transporting his ill-begotten wares.
I stand accused? On what grounds, Idor?
Minister Sorsley, I would advise you to temper your words in the presence of the Holy One.
You would dare chastise me? For generations, the goddess has entrusted House End with her salt, the lifeblood of our nation. I have treated my duty only with the utmost respect. Just hearing these outrageous charges makes my stomach churn.
Really? Then I shudder to imagine your condition whilst you penned these ledgers, delivered to us by one of the soldiers from the source.
I thought the numbers were quite odd, and when I compared them to the ledger at headquarters, I quickly understood why. Forgive me, Minister Sorsley. Staying silent would have meant my death.
Your death? How swiftly your underlings betray you under the slightest pressure.
Now, if you are very well finished, let us continue. Lord Serenoa, did you aid Sorsley in these crimes? Answer with the understanding that falsehoods will be treated as affronts to the goddess's mercy and punished accordingly.
I understand. It is true. We helped Sorsley peddle his salt.
Serenoa, you cur!
On behalf of all Hyzant, I thank you for helping us excise this rot from our nation.
Be that as it may, the fact remains you bear some responsibility in allowing that rot to fester. Such misdeeds must be answered for.
You should have come to us immediately upon finding out his true nature. You had ample opportunity.
I admit the fault is ours, but it was not a judgment made lightly.
We had to act to protect our home and our people. It was the only way to prevent the loss of both.
Your plight has not fallen on deaf ears. However, a crime committed under duress is still a crime.
For that, I have no words. Only hope. Hope that you will find mercy for us. For my people, I beg of you, allow our house to enter the protection of the Holy One.
You love your subjects deeply, that is plain to see. Very well. I shall state your case to the Holy One on your behalf. Serenoa Wolfort, heed well the words of the Holy One. Your house safeguards the very heart of Noselia, and the Wolfort name is known near and far for its fierceness in upholding its duty. The Holy One believes it would be a great loss if your home were to fall victim to Esfrost's ambition. The Saintly Seven has just recently bid farewell to one of its members. His position would be yours if you would take it.
My lord, this...
However, there is the matter of the Roselle that dwell within your borders. The Holy One would see them returned to the flock where they belong. Their home is in the Source, our Holy Land. They are descendants of criminals and worse. Their lot is to offer themselves to the goddess so that the sins of their forebears may be cleansed. The Holy One would see all Roselle serve her in penitence, such is her will.
You would have us betray the Roselle under our protection?
Such mortal judgments are not her concern. The goddess has spoken.
Serenoa, will you surrender the Roselle to Hyzant?
I don't know.
As you are doubtless aware, Lady Frederica, the vow of Lord Simon himself binds us to protect them. Alas, our house is not what it once was.
Is that a reason to cast aside its honor? My father, as well, likely had a hand in orchestrating their protection.
Ah, my friends, I apologize that we once again meet under dire circumstances. You face a difficult choice, one I do not envy. Have you decided?
This was your plan from the beginning, wasn't it?
Plan?
We did as you asked and brought Sorslay's indiscretions to light. You knew it would not end at that.
Lest you misunderstand, allow me to illuminate your position. You are not the noble hawks you think yourselves to be. You are vultures, feeding off the scraps of Sorslay's corpse.
You've got some nerve.
I speak from experience when I say that the title of Saint is not to be worn lightly. Are you prepared?
Prepared? For what?
Doubtless you are aching to break free of your fetters, to take wing and soar. To do that, blood must be spilled. The blood of enemy, friend, and self alike. Your freedom lies at the end of a trail of dead. If you are not prepared to make that journey, to endure that sacrifice, then cast aside your pretensions and grovel.
Grovel or bleed? Poor options, both.
In his time, Lord Simon protected the Roselle who fled Hyzant, and the village they established within the Wolffort domain. 30 years have passed since then. The Hierophant uses the illegal salt trade incident as leverage to demand those Roselle be sent to the Source, where Hyzantian faith dictates they must reside. After being found guilty at the trial, Serenoa has no other choice but to acquiesce. Thus, with House End ruined and a vacant position among the Saintly Seven to be filled, rumors of House Wolffort's ascendancy start sounding more credible than ever to the people of Hyzant.
Lord Serenoa, I believe it may be in our best interests to turn over the Roselle after all.
But they fought so hard to escape Hyzant. They would never agree to return.
It would be a show of good faith to the Saintly Seven and secure House Wolfort's safety. If the situation calls for force, well, we must be prepared, to borrow Minister Exham's words.
I see. Give me time to think over the matter. Where is Frederica?
Oh, she left for the source with Prince Roland. She said she wanted to see where the Roselle live for herself.
Ah, indeed. Byzantine law requires all Roselle to make their home at the source.
She is most troubled over this, Lord Serenoa. Please, if you could...
I understand. I will make for the source at once.
Okay, let's see here. Alright, we've got some side stories here. So, from the throne room of Whiteholm Castle, Gustav begins the next stage of his plan.
Thalos, thank you for making the necessary arrangements.
No need to thank me. I am your Prime Minister, after all. I have made sure those with any power in Glenbrook understand their place. They will do as we command.
Then everything is in place. It is time.
Is there nothing I might do to aid you, brother?
If there were, I would tell you. And the consortium, Thalos?
Oh, I expect we shan't have any trouble from them. I have promised them a considerable sum to stay out of our way.
Good. Now it is just a waiting game. I wonder how long the Byzantians will last.
Alright. Next up here is a dancer approaches a certain man in Glenbrook with an intriguing offer.
Silvio Tellior, I presume?
Who might you be?
Someone who brings good tidings. An offer you may wish to consider.
I am ruined. Who would want to offer me anything?
It is Minister Edor's wish. Will you hear me out?
One of the Saintly Seven? Then you are Byzantian.
My master is eager for your assistance, as you are quite close to House Wolfort.
Okay, next up here is the exploration phase. So it says Frederica makes her way to the source to see her fellow Roselle, but...
Please, I'd only like to glimpse the goddess's sacred grounds for myself. It won't take but a moment.
That may be, but outsiders are not permitted into the source for such frivolities. And you are Rosellan. You ought to understand the teachings better than anyone.
Frederica.
Serenoa, forgive my impulsive behavior.
There's nothing to forgive. I too wish to learn more of the Roselle and Hyzant. Not knowing would make my decision easier, but still I feel I must.
Serenoa? From House Wolfort?
The very same. Lord Serenoa Wolfort. The one who will assume control of the salt trade in short order, as House End once did. To that end, we are here today for a preliminary inspection of the grounds.
So the rumors were true.
Well, Are you refusing the newest addition to the Saintly Seven entry into the source?
Of course not. Please, right this way.
All right, you Rosellan wretches! Time for worship! Minister Edor of the Saintly Seven himself will be giving the sermon today. You should be thankful. Heed his word, and your sins shall be cleansed.
Roselle, do you know why you are imprisoned at the source, condemned to toil? It is because your ancestors committed the most heinous of sins. Long, long ago, they schemed to seize control of the salt that the goddess bequeathed to the people of Nozelia. They seized the source for themselves, wresting every last grain of salt from other peoples, desperate for the resource. Using the salt they hoarded as a shield, they terrorized the land, destroying any who stood against them in their thirst for domination. Fanned by their greed, the flames of war long ravaged our land. Countless innocents lost their lives. What a terrible, arrogant people. Their cursed souls dwell within you, their progeny, to this very day. Indeed, the proof is in the very color of your hair. The same red as the blood that flowed from their countless victims.
Our people sinned against the goddess. We are a detestable blight upon Norzelia.
Oh, goddess of salt, please, forgive us our sins. Forgive us.
Do not despair, for the goddess of salt is ever merciful and kind. She grants even the worst of sinners, even you, a chance to atone. That atonement will only come through hard work here at the source. By quenching this earth with your sweat, by giving your lives to this labor, your cursed souls will be cleansed and welcomed back to the goddess's side. Only then, when your sins have been washed away, can you hope to be reborn into a pure body and once again walk upon Nozelia. People of the Roselle, surrender your lives to the source and give your thanks to the great goddess.
O goddess of salt, for you I give myself, stained with sin as I am, to the source. Thank you for granting us the chance to atone.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is enough. Now take that gratitude and turn it toward your work.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
This is atonement? And the Roselle accept it as a fitting punishment? Even if that story Edor told is true, no sin warrants this kind of cruel retribution. Hyzant maintains control over Salt now. Are they then not guilty of the same crime?
You are right. But this is as the goddess of salt commands, is it not?
Time to see for myself what goes on at the source. So there isn't going to be anything new in this exploration phase. I think I'm just going to zip through this and do the vote and try to sneak everything in this this video. It's going to probably still end up being a long one though. Alright, so let's talk to Frederica. They force young and old alike to toil in deplorable conditions and have the audacity to call it atonement. And even tend to those who collapse from exhaustion. They treat my people worse than criminals. It breaks my heart to behold such cruelty. I can scarcely imagine what it must be like to suffer through this. I'm going to go with the morality option here. They do not think the Roselle human. That is the only way a nation arrives at such cruelty. Yes, this is the grisly secret beneath their claims that all are equal before the goddess. The lie upon which the holy state is built. And it is a powerful state at that. Much as I agree, we cannot oppose them so easily. Alright. The tainted Roselle are fated to live out their days working in the source in the hope that they may one day atone for their sins. They are nothing like the rest of us. By the very nature of their birth, they are impure and lack integrity. The nature of one's birth does not enter into it. We are all born the same. Forgive my lack of decorum, but only an unbeliever would dare utter something so stupid. Wow. Let's beat this guy up. And all of the unbelievers, it's you, the House of Wolford, loudly proclaiming we are born equal from the seat that is his birthright. Yeah, maybe he's a little hypocritical as well. Then I trust you'll have no trouble explaining why the Holy One seems poised to offer this unbeliever a seat among the Saintly Seven. Oh. Aha, well, clearly that is not for me to know. None can truly know the goddess's ways. Yeah, alright, buddy. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Saintly seat left vacant. So yeah, as I said, I've already got all of the, the items and the information from this area in the first playthrough. So I'm going to end the exploration here. So we should return to the encampment.
This is more awful than I imagined.
Will you still send any Roselle in the Wolfort domain here? Force them into a life like this?
It isn't right. It isn't just. I don't care that it would ensure our own safety.
Indeed. It would be unforgivable. What is just is constantly in flux depending on the circumstances. That said, protecting people is always the right thing to do. Wouldn't you agree, Serenoa?
I feel the same as you both, but...
My apologies. I didn't mean to place all the blame on you. Still, we continue stumbling on the path before us.
Serenoa and his retinue return to their domain, their every step weighed down by the heavy task Hyzant has placed upon them. Elsewhere, the newly restored kingdom of Glenbrook begins to take action under Queen Cordelia's leadership. The kingdom issues a joint proclamation with Esfrost against Hyzant, halting all trade and severing diplomatic ties with the Holy State.
Alright, let's knock out this vote phase. So it says, as unrest spreads across Noselia, Serenoa must decide the future of the Rosellan villagers.
Esfrost and Glenbrook signed an agreement denouncing Hyzant.
Word only just arrived. and it is no mere rumor. They've issued a formal proclamation.
Preposterous! Gustadolf must have forced Cordelia's hand. This is sure to make Hyzant cease salt shipments to the Consortium. All this denouncement will do is hamstring Esfrost and Glenbrook both.
My brother... Gustadolf does not fight battles he cannot win. I'm certain this is part of some greater ploy.
I feel all of Norzelia stands on the precipice. But of what, I cannot say.
Each nation is making its move. We too must take action to secure our position before it's too late.
By which you mean expelling the Roselle?
To protect the Wolfort domain and its people. No one would dare hold such actions against you. Lord Serenoa, you must make a decision.
I saw what it is truly like at the source. The Rosellan are forced into back-breaking labor. No decent man would condemn another to such a fate.
But if we refuse the Hierophant, we will face the same dire consequences as House End. Should that happen, the Roselle would still be lost, would they not?
Then you think it is right to sacrifice the Roselle to save Wolfort?
No one is saying it is right, but a decision must be made. We must prioritize our own survival. That much should be clear. And survive we shall, if we can secure Hyzant's aid. Unless you know of another way?
Serenoa, I beseech you, not as one with Roselle blood in her veins, but as a person, as a Wolfort. You cannot give up the Roselle to Hyzant.
I appreciate each of your arguments, but we cannot debate this forever. It is time to decide. Once more to the scales of conviction.
Right, we need Hyzant's support if we are to reclaim Glenbrook, but it comes at a price, one the Roselle under our protection must pay. Alright, so I'm going to save here, and I am choosing to defend the Roselle this time. That is a must in order to recruit Trish, which is, again, my goal of this playthrough. So, defend the Roselle even if it affects relations with Hyzant, or deliver the Roselle. So we need to convince... Let's start with Benedict.
We must decide.
If we defy the Holy One, everything we've done until this very moment will have been for naught. House Wolfart needs Hyzant's support if it is to survive. It pains me to have to say it, but the situation leaves us no choice but to surrender the Roselle. No, sir. Thought you might be opposed. I should like to hear your thoughts if you are open to sharing them. The Roselle are citizens of Wolfort, and there is no future for a house that abandons its people. Or we need all the soldiers we can get. We have protected the Roselle for decades now, and I am certain they would join our fight as thanks. That's actually a pretty good way to look at it. My guess is that actually would appeal more to Roland than the top one, although I do like that top option as well. There are indeed some among them who have been trained to protect the village, but they are not many. We will need far greater numbers if we are to defend ourselves. It appears our views are at an impasse. Allow me to ask you one more thing, my lord. The political climate took an unexpected turn once Esfrost cut ties with Hyzant.
Not.
How do you believe House Wolfort should conduct itself going forward? Could we not use continued trade with the Wolfort domain as a means to negotiate the Roselle's safety, or a conflict with Esfrost is unavoidable, and the Holy State will need our might if they are to stand a chance against them? I would use that leverage to reach a compromise. That's pretty solid. I see. So we'd use our might as a bargaining chip to secure the Roselle's safety. But I must remind you that in Hyzant, the goddess is absolute, as is the word of the Hierophant. We cannot be certain if this matter is even up for debate.
Decided.
In any case, tensions between the two nations are rising and fast. We must be prudent in our actions. There you go. Benedict is deep in thought. Alright, that's as solid as any. Alright, let's talk to Gila next.
What do you need?
The Roselle in that village are the ones who fled Hyzant and their descendants. If the Holy State asks for their people to be returned, we have little room to argue, and if we refuse, we will be branded as heretics. But bending the knee would earn you the title of Saint, Lord Serenoa. I think it is in our best interest to obey for now. So you would choose to protect the Roselle. Might I ask why? It says, if we accept the goddess's teaching, there's a chance we put even Frederica in danger. Or, I have seen the harsh reality of the source for myself, and I could not subject my people to such cruel treatment. These both seem like pretty solid options, but I'm going to appeal to Gila's relationship with Frederica here. Thank you, Lord Serenoa. It heartens me to know that you care for her so. I must admit, I worried about that myself, but the Hierophant is trying to bring House Wolfert to their side. I doubt they would treat your betrothed so callously. But why, though? What makes her think that? They think that all of the Roselle are whatever dirty...
I require some time to think.
Do we focus on what we stand to gain or the weight of what we might lose? The answer is not a simple one. Alright, so Gila is deep in thought. Alright, next up is Anna.
Lord Serenoa.
House Wolfort has overcome countless hardships to get where we are now. If we refuse to relinquish the Roselle, we will meet the same fate as House End. Our first priority must be our own survival. If we do not survive, we can do nothing for the Roselle. You believe we must protect the Roselle? Why? And so the people would never forgive us for doing something so heartless. Without their support, we would be easy prey for the Holy State. Or Hyzant can no longer trade with Ezfrost and Glenbrook. As their only remaining partner, we have grounds for negotiation. Or even if I was named a saint, we are still unbelievers. As such, I doubt they would grant me much power. I'm going to go with the middle option here.
Perhaps.
I see. So we can use the Archduke's decree to our advantage. Even a great nation like Hyzant can only survive so long on its own. No one can tell what Ezfrost is scheming, so the Holy State is undoubtedly desperate for a trading partner. And we could use that desperation to secure the Roselle's safety. They would hardly be in a position to refuse, especially while preparing for their battle against the Duchy. It is a path worth considering.
If so.
Do you harbor any doubts about the Holy State, my lord? So the Holy State acts in accordance with the Hierophant's wishes. I fear giving in to one request would only mean the beginning of many more. Or it is not the Holy State, but the Hierophant that I fear. Their orders are cold and callous, as if they have no heart. Yeah, well, that's pretty insightful, if you're familiar with who or what the Hierophant actually is. They wish to have the Roselle back so badly that they would use us to that end. I cannot help but wonder why. I'm going to go with the top option here.
Indeed.
I agree. They must harbor their own suspicions of us being unbelievers. There's a chance that they continue to force us to make decisions like these, even if we relinquish the Roselle. We should find a way to keep a fair birth without bending to their will.
The others think.
I understand your concerns, my lord. I have my own doubts, truth be told. Wow, Anna's been moved. All right, so that's a solid conversation. Next up is Huet. The Roselle are people of the Wolfort demand, but if we defy the Hierophant, we'll face the same fate as House End. I am at a loss. Alright, so I'm going with, obviously, the Roselle are to be protected even if it earns us Hyzant's ire.
And?
Lord Serenoa, do you think we should protect the Roselle? So perhaps we could get the Holy State to promise not to attack the Rosellan village as my father once did, or the Holy State needs our power if they are to fight the Duchy. We can use that to our advantage in negotiations, or this is our first bargain with the Hierophant. It might play to our advantage to deny their request this once. I think I'm going to go with the middle option. I must admit, I was also caught off guard by the Archduke's decree. It could be a harbinger of war indeed. And if we are on the brink of battle, the strength and expertise of House Wolfort would prove invaluable to the Holy State. Yeah, we've got leverage here. We may be able to leverage that to gain some sort of concession from them regarding the Roselle.
I don't know what to do.
Personally, I agree with you. I don't want to surrender the Roselle, but are there any other reasons you want to protect them? I must defend my people even against the Hierophant. Call it a lord's pride, or I would hate to be the reason that the people's faith in our house is shaken, especially after all my father has done to build up its repute. Or they are Frederica's people, I cannot simply look the other way. And that's a pretty solid answer as well, but I think I'm going to go with the middle one here.
But
I understand how you feel. The name of House Wolfort is known across the land because of Lord Simon. I would hate to do anything that would sully such a proud house, but shielding the Roselle from Hyzant may result in that house being crushed altogether.
I don't know what to do.
The more I think about this, the more my heart aches. Alright, Huette is deep in thought. Let's get the vote started.
It is
Let's
time
do
to
some
cast our
democracy, baby.
votes. We face a difficult decision. Do we surrender the Roselle living in our domain to Hyzant, or do we defy their orders? Approach the scales of conviction with your token at the ready.
You make a convincing argument, my lord.
Let us try this path for the future of House Wolfort. Alright, that looks like we convinced Benedict.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Follow the path of your convictions, my lord. Boom, that's another vote for us.
You have my vote.
You have my vote, Lord Cyrano. Yeah, that looks like a... This is looking like a unanimous.
I have faith in you.
There is no other way forward for us. Yeah, I mean, that looks like that's a unanimous.
The scales of conviction will illuminate the path we've chosen.
Boom. Unanimous. Alright.
The way forward is decided. The Roselle are our people. We must shelter them, even if it earns us Hyzant's ire.
It's also the Golden Path option that you need to take. Obviously, again, I'm not playing the Golden Path this time around, but...
I suspected it would come to this. We have chosen our path, and now we must see it through. We will refuse to hand over the Roselle to Hyzant.
Serenoa and company move to protect the Rosellan settlement. Noble as it may be, such an act of defiance toward Hyzant risks inviting the destruction of House Wolfort itself.
Hyzant will no doubt wish to ask questions of us. We can draw out the negotiations and buy some time.
Time enough to find a way to break them.
We have to inform the Roselle of the situation here.
I'll send an envoy and have them sheltered in Castle Wolfort.
Lord Serenoa, come at once. An army marches on the Rosellan village.
You can't be serious.
Whose banner do they fly?
We know not.
And it matters not. We ride to their aid. Prepare for battle.
Why? Why attack our village?
Hierophant's orders were to return you to Hyzant.
Ha! Over my dead body!
Okay, last thing I'm going to do here is this side story here at the Hierophant's Palace. So it says Edor has a private talk with someone in the Hierophant's Palace.
Did Silvio accept our offer?
Indeed he did. One glimpse of the reward set him on his way to the Wolfort domain.
Then all is in order.
Care to wager how House Wolfort will respond?
Why bother? If they comply, we make use of them. If they resist, we crush them. Either way, we endure.
How ruthless of you.
Okay, that is going to be it for this one. As always, hope the guide was helpful, and thank you for watching.